We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
With Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Good morning, everybody. So, before I went out last night and watched Sound of Freedom, which we're probably going to talk about quite a bit in at least the opening two segments because it's an important film, it's an important message. Last night, after the film, everybody was like, why are you premiering this video so late? I was premiering it because I'd already put up all of my other interviews with the R Rescue gang. Okay? And R Rescue is really Operation Underground Railroad. And before I did this, I got to admit, when you look at the thumbnail, all AI produced again, by the way. Okay? You see that the child is in the forefront in a real System of a Down. And I was thinking to myself, man, this child trafficking thing is still happening in 2023. People are acting like it's not real. It is real. It's very real. Especially after talking to Matt Osborne, Carlo Esparza, Tyler Schwab, and I premiered Nate Lewis last night. And they all work in different aspects of this thing that's been going on for over a decade, all right, and rescuing kids across the world. And it's just one of those things where it's mind-blowing that we can allow this to happen to other, not only humans, but children. And it's just accepted. And it spoke a lot to me how there is a system out there that wants you to be a victim. And sometimes it is there with all sorts of trickery where normally, right, you would be expected to do these things like, say, during a COVID 1984 nightmare that everybody's saying are for the benefit of everybody. They're going to help you. Don't worry, et cetera, et cetera. And you go along to get along, even if some things don't sit well. But sometimes you're not even going to know what doesn't sit well. And to me, that's what I was like thinking to myself, man, this is a System of a Down. I was watching an interview with them from back in the day before they'd even put out their second album. And Darren goes, it's not really a political statement. It's more of a social statement. And whether you like their politics, and by the way, Serge and John, the drummer, feuding back and forth a lot during that COVID 1984/Trump era, right? All that stuff. So they're individuals as well. They come together on some issues, and I think that obviously we're all individuals. That's going to be a reality. But I was like, that is so damn right, because there's so many people that just cannot grasp or get their head around how dark the hearts of men can actually be, and how some of these people are well beyond, and I mean well beyond just greedy. They've actually got a vision for the future. And their vision for the future is one of total control and literally taking godlike powers, what they believe are godlike powers, and shaping what the future of not humanity looks like. And that's it, man. And that is a truly overall a system of a down. Now, let's talk about the film for a second, because I caught the late show. I caught the 10:55. I don't think the film started till almost 11:20. It's a little over 2 hours long. I got home just before 1:30 in the morning when I premiered the Nate Lewis interview, because I wanted to actually pop into the live chat and just kind of give a quick overview, not even really a quick overview, just a quick review of what I thought about the film. So let's just talk about it. Let's start with just as a movie. All right, just as a movie, if you're watching Sound of Freedom, you have no idea what it's about. You try to take somebody with you, and I did. Nobody would come to the late show with me. I don't know if I could have got somebody on the earlier one, but the earlier ones were all sold out. And by the way, guys, if you've got a Cinemark near you, can't recommend the experience enough. I love it. The only time it sucks is when you get in that front row and you're still in a pretty comfy seat. You just have a terrible angle. But I got to pick my seat. You know, there's probably like 20, 25 people there in the theater for the 10:55 show. The runtime, 2 hours and 11 minutes. I mean, the end credits show you little documentary stuff that obviously I sat through, but I didn't sit through the whole run through. So you get out of there in a couple hours, 2:05 or something like that. And again, as a movie, I think this is an 8.59 if you're into the type of 90s narrative operation film. So I'm going to compare this to another film, because really they're similar on a lot of levels. Donnie Brasco. If you liked Donnie Brasco, which is the story of a police officer really infiltrating the mob. That's obviously a little bit dramatized, just like this is a little bit dramatized. The story of Tim Ballard. Very much that kind of pace, where I think Donnie Brasco is also like a 2-hour film, maybe 2 hours plus, and it doesn't feel that way. It's very snappy. This film is very much just like that. Shot amazingly. Wraps it up in a pretty good bow tie from beginning to end. And I want people to know, like, out of the gates, this is not a film about the occult or child sacrifice or anything to do with adrenochrome. And I want to address that also, because I think it's really important. First of all, if you've never heard my opinion on adrenochrome, let's get it right out of the way. Is there, this medical grade thing called adrenochrome that you can get? Yes. It's a real thing. It rarely used, but yes, used. The mythos surrounding adrenochrome and child sacrifice, I attribute a lot of that to Crowley and, the bloodletting ritual of sex magic that, he wrote about as an incanted entity. That goes along with maybe what you see in Hunter Thompson's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. And you notice when they do that drug too, the hallucinations are very lizard-like. So it kind of all ties together, and I think that people gravitate towards that because even the Ike lizard thing, right? Like Metzger actually texted me about adrenochrome yesterday. Happy Independence Day. Asking me what I knew about it. And we got into this long conversation and, Crowley and Lamb and Crowley's connection to UFOs and aliens and that folklore as well. And I even talked about quickly Robert Anton Wilson and his respect for Crowley. Kind of that he's a misunderstood character. I'm not so sure that's the case, but I respect Robert Anton Wilson. I think he's an interesting character. But then again, he comes at it from a very atheistic perspective, not even much of an agnostic one. Maybe he changed at the very end. I don't know. So there's none of that. And what goes around is this, the Caviezel interviews. Like for instance, the latest Caviezel interview with Bannon talking about, 70-pound drums of body parts that are being made into this stuff. It's not in the picture. In fact, none of the organ trafficking, that is a reality. Talk about a system of a down, man. And if you watch the Nate Lewis thing, and I encourage everybody to check it out, because really, the Nate Lewis interview was the one where I was supposed to talk to Dershowitz first, but Dershowitz bailed on me. So I get an hour with this guy, which is great, because I'd rather talk to this guy for an hour because they're doing real things. And so he spent time in Africa, and we talked about witch doctors, because that's real. I want everybody to kind of just talk about a system of a down, man. First of all, we're all going to have trauma. We're all going to have tough times. I realized at an early age, when I saw what was going on in like the second and third world, damn, even poor in the first world, pretty good. Pretty good. I can sit here and cry about my childhood all I want. I don't have it anywhere near as rough as, say, a kid that just gets picked up off the street. And because some guy wants to open a business. I mean, this guy's not even somebody that abuses children. He just wants to open a business. He goes to the witch doctor and he wants some kid castrated in some weird ritual to bring good luck to his business. And that's real. I mean, this guy saw it firsthand. I mean, wow. You make a child a eunuch because you want to open up a gyro stand? Like, seriously? Like, that's what we're talking about here? You want to open up? Whoa. It's unbelievable. So this film, first of all, I want to say this. Nothing done in a super graphic manner. Also, it does not really focus, say, on the United States heavily. So they do talk about kind of sex tourism. They show you certainly a couple Americans that are involved, not just in the purchase of children, but also of the trafficking in general. That is a part of it. But mostly what you're looking at is a criminal organization takedown. And what I really did like the extra cherry on top, if you say, at the end, the very, very end of the movie, they've wrapped it up, the narrative. They kind of show a shot of the Caviezel, who's playing Tim Ballard. And it morphs into Ballard. You see actual footage of the operation they run. Like, this is an operation film, man. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, even in Donnie Brasco, if you think, again, and this is why Donnie Brasco is almost like the perfect kind of comparison in the type of film you're watching. In Donnie Brasco, it focuses kind of like how he's torn between his family, but you don't really get to see much of that person's family. Same here. Ballard has a huge family. They're touched upon a few times. He talks to his wife a few times, but this is really about the operation. So when you see the operation in action, and then you actually see the camera footage of the actual takedown, and they saved actual children, you're like, damn, man. That really helps bring it home. After you watch this very well done, dramatic picture, again, about some of the darkest subject matter out there. So before we go to break, I just can't plug it enough. Sound of Freedom, give them their money. Okay? They give them money to make more of these films. In fact, there was such a connection with this film on a number of levels because it wasn't preachy, it wasn't political. Like, no one was like, damn those Democrats. Nothing, not a political statement here. I forgot, I also talked to Tara Rodas, who blew the whistle on what they're really smuggling kids in right now over that border. And they're really giving them to people that are trafficking them. It's all real. And you know what? They don't speak English. And they might not look like some of America. Who cares? It's about humanity and human beings. We're going to talk about that on the flip side of this word from our sponsor.
We interrupt today's programming to bring unfortunate news. Biden's dangerous plan for a digital dollar is underway. Don't be fooled. It won't benefit you. So take action now. The Federal Reserve's phased deployment of FedNow began on July 1st, 2023. Be prepared. This may catch many off guard and put your hard-earned assets in jeopardy. But here's the good news. There's a simple legal tax loophole to opt out of the digital dollar. Speak to someone at American Alternative Assets for a free wealth protection guide and discover how to safeguard your wealth with gold and silver IRAs against a failing dollar and volatile markets. Dial 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now, 833-287-2465. This invaluable guide provides precise steps to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals without any tax consequences. Don't let Biden force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Call 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now. 833-287-2465. Act swiftly. 833-287-2465.
We are back. Thumbs it up. Subscribe, share. Remember, today is Wednesday, so the second hour you're going to want to watch exclusively at rvmrumble.com, and I'll be posting it later in the day. I kick off the second hour with the trailer for Sound of Freedom. So if you're on the fence, you're not sure. By the way, not even 50 thumbs up over on YouTube. Come on, guys. Come on. It's hard enough to get a couple thousand views now on YouTube. Help me out. Help the show out. Yeah, but again, don't just help me. Help this. It's not about a movie. It's about a movement. It's about recognizing that this is a reality. I was checking over in the comment section, as I do sometimes when the commercials are rolling. First, let's address the Podbean situation. I haven't posted on Podbean probably 2-3 weeks. That's because I'm reposting in a lot of other places with all this other stuff. And I get overwhelmed. And I don't really have somebody else helping me. RVM does a great job of reposting this show in several places. But then you got the premiums, which do go free after a couple weeks. But I like to get them out on the other platforms. Sometimes I'll make a new thumbnail, those type of things. Again, overwhelmed. Like, you talk for 3 to 4 hours a day, and then you do other people's shows. It's not just talking. You're doing all this research and reading and watching. I mean, even last night, think about it. I didn't get out of there until the show kicked off 6.5 hours after I got out of the theater. Now, do you think I just got up? No. Got up at 6 a.m. You think I just fell asleep? No. Got about 3.5, 4 hours of sleep. I mean, that's why there's some Bilbo Baggins under the eyes sometimes, guys. But that, again, small complaints when you experience a film like this. Now, I also saw somebody in there talking about Tim Ballard, talking about kids being sold for child sacrifice. That's real. Again, go watch the interview with Nate Lewis. It's real. I hate to tell everybody, but there are some weirdos out there, some sickos, and they're not just the ones, that we talk about behind closed doors in the United States. It's more openly accepted in other cultures. It's more out in the open. And Lewis will tell you, he doesn't think that a lot of these quote unquote witch doctors believe anything they're doing. It's about the mucho dinero. It's about greed for them. Again, those levels of system of a down, that you have these varying parties that are more than willing to, not only exploit, but in essence own you. Modern day slavery is a real thing. And something that needs to be not only acknowledged first, but then addressed. And again, this a big film. I honestly hope it does 150 million, because yesterday was the official opening of it. They did some pre-screenings. July 3rd, it started here. Again, I want to say, if you're in the Cinemark area, it's a great way to watch it. And the late shows, I guess not a lot of people can do it, but if you can, go to a late show. Take a couple people. It's a solid film. And, you know, a lot of people talking about the Caviezel's performance, etc. The kids in this, the two main kids, which are, you know, a brother and a sister. I mean, damn. I'm blown away that, you know, sometimes the kids can act this way. And they have significant parts in the film. Like, they're in a lot of it. In fact, way more than you would see Ballard's family. And maybe that's the connection. And it's a connection that we should have, right? To children, to want to protect children. I think. In fact, I'm going to give you an example. I'm also going to talk about how even sitting in the theater, they got this new System of a Down they want for you, which we're going to play this clip because I wasn't really, you know how they have like the movie trivia stuff and the commercials now in the background, they're selling you this and that. I wasn't really paying attention. And then at the very end of this like wacky thing that was in the background that made me look like, it looked like a Weird Al spinoff, I realized it was, oh, you're never going to eat meat again. And here's our soy nonsense, our hate and lies impossible meat. You know, it's like a minute and a half of hell is what it is of a System of a Down. We're going to play that too. But I also want to talk about a couple of the trailers that came in. Now, Angel Studios are the ones that are putting this out. They're apparently putting out the Mel Gibson produced documentary as well. I hope they do. I hope it's as well done and as powerful as this. It can be, I'm sure. This was a top level production. So I'm watching a trailer for a film where, you know, it's like the traditional sappy, like Christian thing. Like they obviously fit in a lot, knew that this was going to be like a Christian audience. They knew who they were going for. So you saw stuff for, I think there's like a new Bethlehem musical. And this one in particular was like a mom dies and this kid is going to die of something. And some lady starts helping the family. And, you know, just inherently, because it's about a kid dying and it's got the sappy music, you know, it's got me going, it's got me reeling, it's got me feeling a little teary-eyed. And there's a lot of tears in Sound of Freedom, by the way. If there's one thing that could possibly be parodied is the number of times that Jim Caviezel cries on camera. I mean, this guy's got the waterworks going. Good for him. I mean, it's an emotional film, and I would be lying to you if my eyes didn't well up a couple times. Very hard to watch some of these things. But there's teardrops in this one. Now, that's about, you know, the trailer anyway. That's about basically one kid and that kid, whether it's going to survive or not. Up comes the trailer for Oppenheimer. And this is a film I actually want to see. I actually have not seen a ton of Christopher Nolan's work. Especially the recent stuff. I think, was he on Dunkirk and stuff like that? It's his brother that's behind Westworld. I'd say I'd watch more of that because I watched that entire series. But they have Oppenheimer coming out. And super interested in the Manhattan Project, in Oppenheimer in general, and the Bohemian Grove connections. And I'm wondering if, you know, the Bohemian Club is... I would imagine they have to put it in the film. But we'll see. Anyway, that trailer comes on, and about halfway through it, and you know what the outcome of the nuclear weapons program. Yeah, it's the end of World War II, but you're talking about, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of women and children, not only being killed, but directly affected, maybe millions. It affected all of Japan and the world, but I mean directly. I mean, you're taking tons of life. And I'm not even close to emotional. I'm like kind of excited to see it, you know? And I just kind of thought to myself, wow, that's a weird disconnect that I'm way more emotional about some drama focusing on a family and one child when I can sit here and just kind of watch where, you know, in an entertainment type fashion and not be as connected to something I know just decimated the lives of so many kids, so many people, but children specifically. And that's just kind of accepted. Just, I don't know, that was a Jack Handy deep thought. And my deep thought here is the next system of a down is they want to take good, healthy food away from you. And when I start watching this, and we're going to watch it together, okay? Let's do it.
Meat.
Take a look at this guy. Meat. We have quite a long history together, don't we? And by the way, this is about making meat history. So it's a double pun. They're making history with their new meat. It's not meat. It's hate and lies. It's going to be health issues. They're telling you it's healthier. It's a total lie. Okay? So they're selling you on this new meat, but they really want to make meat a thing of the past as well. And they're using some guy that looks like the bastard son of Al Yankovic, Weird Al, if Al Yankovic had no testosterone left whatsoever. And I'm a big Weird Al fan. You know, if this wasn't for real and serious and they weren't showing you some dude who's like 117 pounds soaking wet, you know, talk about no masculine I mean, to be quite honest with you, if I were to play right now the trailer for Sound of Freedom and the initial pedo that they take down, they look almost, in fact, I've got to do it, right? They look almost identical. That was another thing that was striking to me. Can we do that right now? Let's see. Again, we're going to play the whole trailer of Freedom in a minute. Let's see. But I think that, not in a minute, at the top of the hour. Second hour. Let's see. Are you kidding me right here? You telling me that this trailer doesn't have it in them? How could this trailer not, like my trailer 100% that I've been playing has the guy in it? Let's go back. We're doing it live. This is it right here. It's got to be.
How many pedophiles you got?
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Take a look at this guy right here. Now take a look at this guy. Take a look at this guy right here. Now take a look at this guy. I'm just saying. But that's the guy this guy is the one that's telling you no more meat. Let's keep going.
We have quite a long history together, don't we? But let's think back to our carnivorous fate when a caveman saw a mammoth and was like, how would that taste? Oh, since then, what a journey it's been. An incisor-o-rama parade of meat friends. The Huns love their mutton, Egyptians their pigeons. Even the Aztecs had deer in their kitchens. And now, as luck would have it, there's a brand new meat to decant from a delicious new animal called the plant.
Meat from a plant?
That's so weird.
I'm offended.
Now hold up, friends. This meat can do all of the things that meat can do too. It can sizzle and bleed.
Impossible.
Yes, I know. It can be hard to believe. This plant meat, when you eat it, it's the meatiest meat you ever meated. Though if you're someone who likes meat with a face, I assure you that can be arranged. So let's welcome this new meat, whose biggest difference is
Impossible is much better for the planet. It also has 0 milligrams of cholesterol and is packed with protein.
If you can't taste the difference, then hold up your buns. All the other meats agree this new meat's more fun. That's right. The new meat on the scene. Just stack it on your modern day grill. You'll be making meat history.
So there it is. They cheer on while they want to take away your literal nutrition. Well, you're a system of a down where there's a ruling class of people that don't think that you're fit to have the proper sustenance that clearly human beings as the apex predator having the food chain. We're going to talk about that and a lot more after a word from our sponsor. Let's thumbs it up, subscribe, and share, everybody.
Attention Americans, breaking news. Biden's dangerous plan for a digital dollar is underway. Don't be fooled. It won't benefit you. Take action now. The Federal Reserve phased deployment of FedNow began on July 1st, 2023. Be prepared. This may catch many off guard. Your hard-earned assets are in jeopardy. But there's a simple legal tax loophole to opt out of the digital dollar. Reach out to American Alternative Assets for a free wealth protection guide and discover how to safeguard your wealth with gold and silver IRAs against a failing dollar and volatile markets. Visit protectfrombiden.com. This invaluable guide provides precise steps to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals without any tax consequences. Be smart. Don't let Biden force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Visit protectfrombiden.com to get your free guide and get started. Again, that's protectfrombiden.com.
We are back. It is Reality Rants. I am Jason Bermas. It is brought to you by redvoicemedia.com. Remember, the second hour is going to be free over at rvmrumble.com. rvmrumble.com. That's where you're going to be able to see the entire Sound of Freedom trailer, which, again, I'm promoting it 100%. This is about an organization that saves kids. Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Anybody who's hell-bent on, trying to, denigrate this project as something it's not, I'm sorry. That's not what this is. A well-done picture that you can show to anybody. I'd say you don't want somebody like a teenager, 13, 12. You probably do that. There's nothing graphic in here, especially compared to what's on television. A couple of words, a couple of innuendos, but again, a powerful picture about how this trade is run. And a lot of it is just the promises of the world, the poor people. They don't know what they're even getting into. They have no clue. And I think that this film also does a great job of highlighting that. Okay. So we just watched the gaslighting meat commercial. Wild. They got, it's better for the planet. It's better for the planet that you don't travel. It's better for the planet that you only live to be, 25, 30. Don't worry, you're going to upload your consciousness after we got you nice and snug, safe, and secure, right? In the metaverse, or whatever we're calling it that week. By the way, speaking of systems of a down, there is a story right here that is worth noting. RFK Jr. blasts Biden White House after it makes midnight announcement. What are they hiding? Oh, just the JFK documents. Again. It's not about conspiracy, it's about transparency. In a midnight Friday night announcement, the White House had delivered the bad news that President will be maintaining secrecy indefinitely on some JFK assassination-related records. Wah, wah, wah. In a post-truth world, okay, in a place where it's not about conspiracy theory, it's literally about narrative management and control. And if you question that narrative management and control, not only will you be dismissed by some, attacked by others, deplatformed by many, but they're getting ready to criminalize this. Criminalize you questioning whether or not that you should have access to not only things that you were promised to, but it shouldn't have even been this long. I want to call them the accountability papers. And a lot of people say, well, it's 60 plus years, Jason, everybody's dead. I don't know that everybody's dead. I don't know that everybody's dead. If you don't think that maybe there were some hotshots in there in their early 20s that somehow were involved in this, in some way, shape, or form, probably being pretty naive. Maybe not many, but overall, in the whole shebango, when you're talking about dealing with Oswald, just Oswald alone, it's a question we should be asking. Kennedy appeared to be referencing a memorandum to executive branch department and agencies released Friday from the White House. The Biden release noted, in light of the recommendation for continued postponement of public release of information in the records identified in Section 2B in this memorandum, under the statutory standard, I hereby certify by the authority. See, they're the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States bullshit, including Section 5G 2D of that act, that continued postponement of public disclosure of that information is necessary to protect against identifiable harms to the military defense, intelligence operations, law enforcement, and the conduct of foreign relations. See that the conduct of foreign relations that are of such gravity that they outweigh the public interest in disclosure. Your children, we're the adults. Sorry. Nope. And by the way, I guess it's the 60th anniversary coming up this November. Still inexcusable. The documents obviously relate to information prior to the JFK assassination, as they should, as this was indeed not a conspiracy theory, but a conspiracy in fact. And there were investigations done. Just saying. For Kennedy to claim that there is still identifiable harm related to releasing information about an event so long ago makes no sense, and he reacted accordingly. What national security risk could possibly be at risk? That we've been taken. That we're not a constitutional republic. That we truly are and were and have been for a very long time this, pseudo-techno-fascistic society erected through the military-industrial complex and its alliances outside of nation states. That's what we're part of, Robert. And look, he's one of the few guys calling this out, period. In fact, here's Couscous, Kucinich, who's traveling with him, and right now I think is the head of his campaign, although he might be looking for a new head, talking about the post-truth world, using what's happening in Ukraine as a vehicle for that. Talks about Hirsch's article. I know that The Intercept is now questioning Hirsch's article with this person that, did some studying underneath. If you don't think that U.S. interest / intelligence was involved in that, I don't know what to tell you. Again, we're in the post-truth world. Of course, at some level, they're involved in that. Yeah, you're kidding yourself otherwise. And Kucinich lays it out beautifully. So we're going to go to that clip. Let's go to it right now.
The truth of the matter is that this was precipitated by the failure to reach any kind of an agreement and by an aggression which killed over 14,000 people in Donetsk and Luhansk, who the Russian government had a constitutional obligation to defend. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about agents provocateurs masking as high state officials who come in to escalate and to seize markets, in this case, an oil and gas market, blow up a pipeline.
Do you believe Joe Biden blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, as Seymour Hersh?
I don't think there's any question that there are people inside his government who are absolutely involved. No doubt about it. Was it some 6 Ukrainians in a fishing boat? Give me a break. I mean, this is all, how stupid do the people in Washington think the American people are and the people are abroad? This didn't just happen. It was planned. And Seymour Hersh wrote a brilliant article that dissected the way it was done. And no one has come up with anything to the contrary, except in NATO's round up the usual suspects. The very thought that somehow Russia did this to itself would cause heaven to grow hair. I mean, really, come on. I've been in politics now over 50 years, and I have to tell you, some of the things that they want to get the American people to believe, I mean, how gullible do they think we are? And look at what they put off over it in terms of saying that Russia somehow interfered in the U.S. election, in the presidential election. It was a bunch of baloney. And but here in the States, people have to nod their heads. Oh yes, that's what happened. No, it didn't.
We're going to bring it back because this is where he really drives it home. This is why this was a guy that I could get behind back in the day. He was the real deal Holyfield. Yeah, not fooling around, went further than the vast majority of politicians, could critically think for himself. I'm very glad he's part of the RFK Jr. campaign. So let's bring it back.
Do they think we are? And look at what they put off over it in terms of saying that Russia somehow interfered in the U.S. election, in the presidential election. It was a bunch of baloney. And but here in the States, people have to nod their heads. Oh yes, that's what happened. No, it didn't. And yet the Democratic Party has made it a cardinal principle of faith that we have to believe this is exactly what happened. No, it didn't happen. And that's part of the problem. Our social and political reality has been restructured. Reality is socially constructed. It's culturally authenticated and verified. And we recreated a social reality in the United States that has made Russia an enemy. It's all based on falsehoods.
I mean, that's pretty spot on right there. It's all based on falsehoods. We're in the post-truth world, everybody, and at least Dennis Kucinich is calling it out. That's a reality. Meanwhile, in the post-truth world, you won't be hearing a lot about this. But I want to show everybody how you are going to be hearing about it. So, this is CNN's headline. July 4th and 5th have the most mass shootings of any day of the year. So this is a headline yesterday. And, again, the definition of a mass shooting, sometimes it's just a shooting that breaks out in a crowd and a bunch of people get shot. A lot of times it's gang violence within that. Other times you have what happened in Philly. Okay, now let's go to the early one of this. I think this is it right here. Gunman behind July 4th Philly bloodbath that left 5 dead is firearm-obsessed computer nerd who had aggressive approach to some things in life. 40-year-old Kim Brady Carricker. And this wasn't just like this person went around and killed these people. So when they say, a killing spree on the eve of the 4th of July, okay, 5 men between the ages of 15 and 59 were killed in the shooting. The 5th victim wasn't found until 4 hours later when an unarmed man returned home and found his son dead in the living room, his body riddled with bullet wounds. So this person, their 2 kids got shot in the leg. They were listed in stable condition. This person went around and killed people. All right? I just want to make that clear. It wasn't just like some random thing. They're not sure, etc. Let me tell you why you won't be hearing about this in the post-truth world. Okay, this is obviously a crazy person, right? But it's also a crazy person that was a cross-dresser. Who knows how they identify? Could be trans, could be non-binary. I don't know. They're talking about the BLM activist. But there's a shot of the crazy person. Okay? Person who decided to murder 5 people. Now, again, CNN will frame this like most mass shootings of any day of the year. And again, you have horrible things going on sometimes in these group block parties where disaster does strike. You can almost guarantee with this one, not only because of the political beliefs, but if you don't think that this person is highly medicated, I guarantee that person's on meds. I have this other clip that I could play probably after the break. Gotta go find it. Didn't have it queued up. Where this woman just freaks out on a plane. and starts talking about that person isn't real. It's not very clear what's going on, other than this person is probably heavily medicated, and we're not supposed to talk about that. We're going to go to a word from our sponsor, and we'll be back right after this.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets, sleepwear, dog beds.
Whoa, Charles. Everyone now can get MyPillow products at huge discounts at MyPillow.com. That's right. Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our 3-in-1 sale. We're bringing you exciting new products, overstock specials, and closeout deals you won't find anywhere else. For example, when you buy one of our brand new MyPillow 2.0s, you get another one absolutely free. And with our overstock sale, you save 50% on our luxurious Giza Dream bed sheets. That's as low as $29.99 for the best sheets ever. And with our biggest closeout special, you get our all-season slippers for only $35. Or our sandals and slides for just $25. Quantities are limited, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Thumbs it up, subscribe, share. Remember, the second hour is over at RVMRumble.com. It's going to kick off with the Sound of Freedom trailer. And then, in this System of a Down, I thought it would be great to play my recent appearance over on the Union of the Unwanted, where we talk a lot about the System of a Down that is the medical system. And I give, a personal story about me dealing with vertigo and how ridiculous that was. Miriam Hanane also talks about her experiences currently with the medical system, as well as many others. That's with Ricky Verandas. I have to post his premium from a couple weeks ago. Great conversation with him. Charles Robinson is also there. Charlie Robinson, Macroaggressions podcast. Great stuff. All right. Final segment in the first hour. Let's talk about this story in a moment. The guy is not real that I was talking about. We're gonna show you somebody. I think again, take a look at everybody. I think she's off her meds. Some people were like, "What if it's real?" No, I think it's not off her meds. On too many. Couscous quickly talked about the Russians and election interference and blah 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 blah. No, worry about signature reduction. Worry about pseudo government agencies and tech companies and all that Johnny nonsense. This person does not exist. I repeat, does not exist. This is election interference starting early. I will not even link to the page because it is dangerous to continue to follow and engage. This is an account bot linked to Belgium. This also shows how easy our elections are being influenced. It's not just elections. It's the whole world. Okay? So this is an account linked to a firm in Belgium, digital marketing CEOs. Okay, you see this stuff, and basically, you see how they do this. In conclusion, hey, are you able to fight back against social selling? This seems to be the most dangerous use of accounts on Twitter. I don't know that it's the most dangerous, but come on. Take a look. At least they suspended that account. You know how many Erica Marshes there are out there? There's a ton of these. 90,000 followers. 90,000 followers. Blue check mark, the whole shebango. 90,000 followers. So, the bot networks are real. They just don't happen to be Russian. They're like consulting firms. There's a ton of plausible deniability. That's how they actually work. So, here we go. Try to convince me this person's not on meds or heavily medicated.
I'm telling you, I'm getting the off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the off, and everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two but I am telling you right now, that mother back there is not real. And if you can stay on this claim and you can die with them or not, I'm not going
to. Yikes. I mean, what do you say about that? And you're going to tell me that woman right there, she's not on prescribed medications? I'm going to go with prescribed medications. Just me. Just me. Let's hit a few more stories up before we flip over to the second hour. Exclusive UFO hunting. Harvard scientists say debris from unidentified object that crashed in the Pacific Ocean in 2014 appears artificial in origin, and they could be remnants of an interstellar spacecraft. First of all, if they found anything, and I'm not saying they did, if they found anything of significance, why is it like they always go to interstellar space? It could be a weapon system. It doesn't even have to be propulsion. When you're out there in big bodies of water, that's where they do the military testing. And yeah, again, it could be interstellar spacecraft. UFO hunting Harvard scientists. I'm artificial. Well, no kidding, artificial. Can you imagine all the things that we have are artificial that we don't know about? Come on, man. Especially when you're talking about weapons and propulsion systems. And now bio-nanotech and all that ungoodness. Like, can we be adults? Is that okay? Can we stop playing pretend constantly? Maybe not. Maybe not. I want to believe. Oh, we did that one right there. I must have brought that up there. Hunter Biden laptop strikes again as photos appear of him showing committing 2 crimes on camera. Yeah, smoking crack and rolling down 172 miles an hour. Western Journal's good enough not to put the pictures up, but you can find the pictures, right? And then they found cocaine in the White House. I mean, we are at a total and complete cartoon level where Hunter Biden is cutting deals, barely getting slaps on the wrist. They're laughing at you in your face. Again, rules for thee, but not for me. And then they find cocaine in the White House. They find cocaine. Like, first of all, let's not get it twisted. I'm sure there's been plenty of cocaine over the years in the White House. George Bush liked a little of the blow. You think he just gave that up? He got sober and right with Jesus, Jason. Don't you know? Dick Cheney and Karl Rove made sure there were no cocaine parties with him and Jeff Gannon, a.k.a. James Guckert, when he was there until 5 in the morning all the time. I'm sure that never happened. Like I'm sure. Barry Soetoro, a.k.a. the Barack star. He might like a little nose candy. Billy Clinton, what do you think? He just stopped as part of the Mena, Arkansas gang? Come on now. Just the fact that they got caught should tell you just everything you need to know. Everything you need to know. Now, look, as far as the Trump White House, I really don't think that Trump... I think Trump's true to his word on the no drinking, no drugs, just what's been prescribed. And I'm sure what's been prescribed are they've got to be some kind of amphetamines. Again, I hate to come down on all you Trump guys. He's an older guy, and he admittedly talks about sleeping 4 hours a night every night. He only needs 4 hours of sleep. That's incredible, really. I mean, that's a very disciplined person. 4 hours a night? I mean, yeesh. Running yourself ragged. 20-hour days? That's a lot. I mean, that's physically a ton, mentally a ton too. But once again, more things come out from that laptop, which really makes you wonder how much stuff is out there on that laptop. What haven't we seen? That's it. I mean, the rumors are out there, but what haven't we seen? Apparently, 172 miles an hour smoking crack, no big deal. No, like if you had somebody that was well connected and the system wanted to take down, and they burn you in a second. You could have been guilty of negligent homicide. I mean, that's a real argument, by the way. So, yeah, the dark cartoon continues. It's constantly right in our face, and we should have to acknowledge it when it does do that. like this. Smallville actress. I mean, why do they? We don't call actors and actresses anymore. Allison Mack is quietly released from prison a year early after being jailed for 3 years for brainwashing and recruiting sex slaves for NXIVM cult leader Keith Raniere, who is serving 120 years. And they burned Raniere, boy. Raniere thought he was the head of that cult. He thought he had all the power. But guess what? When you're dealing with billionaires like the Bronfman sisters and Holly weirdos being exploited in a very real sex cult that involved children, and let's not forget Salinas, the ex-president's son in Mexico. You do okay. And don't get me wrong, like even Claire Bronfman, she's probably next to get released. She funded all of the lawyers. And Sarah Bronfman, I believe, is still outside of the country. Won't be doing any time. Isn't going to be extradited for these crimes. They want the NXIVM thing to kind of just go away. Weird branded sex cult, mind control programs, Rainbow Cultural Garden, nursery school. They want that gone. So, Mac was really high level in that organization. And they liked, pretty young actresses to bring them in. It's weird how that works. You watch again Sound of Freedom, bringing it back around. And one of the things that I discussed, I think it must have been Matt Osborne. I forgot, I also talked to the quote-unquote Batman. And that's like, there's a composite character in there that's probably like you would say the co-star of the movie. He doesn't get introduced for a good 30, 40 minutes, but he becomes like kind of the partner of the Caviezel character. And the guy that's based on, talking about how, they have madams. They have these pretty women that kind of like mother them and, put them in these situations and become the archetype. And that is featured in the film, 100%. And then later on, when they show this, like the actual footage of the takedown, you get to see what this person actually looked like. That was a powerful moment for me, right up until the very end. So certainly worth looking at. Monsters Among Us, and just hitting home that people can hurt and do hurt children. Army Sergeant 40 is indicted for murder after beating a 2-year-old girl to death at an illegal daycare run by his wife out of their home on Missouri base. Think how scary that is. I mean, yikes. Just what happened? Killed the kid in 2019. Oh, 2-year-old little girl. Again, if you don't think monsters are real, I got news for you. They are. They are. Now, speaking of the cocaine, Biden just, nope. He slams gun violence. Says teachers shouldn't be armed. Shock. Is it really a shock? Secret Service investigates shock discovery. The question is, listen, I'm not accusing Hunter. But if Hunter's losing his cocaine, how much of the sauce is he really back on? I mean, he's in court a lot. Lots of pressure for Hunter. Right? Hunter's the victim. And who knows? Maybe he is. We don't know what Hunter's childhood was like around, Sniffy McGee, Joey B. Could be darker than some of us could ever imagine. Just want to point that out there. So we got one more break. I'm going to come back on the flip side. I'm going to tell you where you can watch the second hour, and we're going to wrap it up. This is Reality Rants. I am Jason Bermas. Back after
We
this.
love the internet, but the internet is tracking everything you do. Take control of your online privacy with IPVanish. People with malicious intent are everywhere, watching you. Criminals can hack your Wi-Fi, while broadband providers and advertisers monitor your data. With IPVanish on your device, your internet activity is encrypted. No one can see what you're doing. Your location, your connection, completely hidden. Protect your internet privacy today with IPVanish.
RVMVPN.com. I use IPVanish. You should as well. So here's the deal, guys. Second hour is going to kick off with Sound of Freedom, the trailer. And then it's followed by Jim Caviezel talking about human trafficking and modern day slavery. And I just want to reiterate, this isn't a film about adrenochrome or child sacrifice or Hollywood pedophilia, even political pedophilia. You want to talk about something that highlights these rings and actually gets into the political pedophilia. I'd encourage you to go check out Avicii and the song A Better Day. The video for it, that does a hell of a job in 3-4 minutes. Very, very effective, powerful, along to music. We've got to use the mediums and the tools that reach the vast majority. And that many times is mainstream music, is mainstream cinema. And I can only commend these guys for coming together and really making a grade A project that, one more time, I'm going to plug it. I'm going to plug it. There are screenings, at least in the Quad Cities area where I live, until July 7th. Okay? Or, I'm sorry, the 6th. Actually, I think they have them on the 7th too, right? If it's just the 6th, I think that this is the early shows. Might even be beyond that, right? There's that. We're going back in time. Here we go. Let's go. Sound of Freedom. No, we're going to do that. Browse more showtimes. And yeah, we got it all the way through the 12th here. There are no excuses. Get to one of these shows if you're in the Quad Cities, and if your area is showing these films, get behind it before the weekend, right? I get it. The 7th, 8th, you want to do it, get big. But support this movie. I'm going to repeat it. Support this movie. Before we flip over, you watch the trailer, you check out my discussion with the Union of the Unwanted Gang. I do want to remind everybody I am a documentary filmmaker. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture are all free. They're all freebies. We put them out there. But if you want to support the broadcast, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. That's redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. Okay, you go there. You sign up, $1 for the first week or $10 a month. We did just get a annual subscriber, locked it in for 100. Thank you so much. You get usually 2 interviews. There's only 1 interview up, but it's broken up into 2 parts because it was almost 2.5 hours long. Great conversation with Kurt Metzger. I hope the premium members out there are really enjoying that. Even after that, 2 weeks later, we put them out for free because it's about getting the information out there. Guys, with that being said, I'm going to sign off for the first hour. RVMRumble.com. That's where you want to be for the second hour, guys. So check out the trailer right now for what?